First, I want to talk to Keith, who is calling in from Florida. Keith, you're live on Truth Wanted. What's going on?
Hello, Dan and Anthony and Ben. How's it going?
Pretty good. Pretty good. A lot of feels today, but good feels. So,
well, first, I just want to say happy early birthday, Dan.
Thank you. Thank you. I look forward to turning 25. I think I'm going to contact the Guinness Book of World Records because I'm pretty sure nobody's actually been that old before. At least that's what I'm feeling right now. So,
how many years of those were in 2020?
Hey, you got me there. But anyway, Keith, let's what do you really want to talk to us about today?
Yeah, so I love the street epistemology approach that we're seeing you guys using. It's great. I've seen it in other places as well. What I was wondering is, how would we go about using this approach if we're handling people who are doing things like essential oils and other holistic healing type things?
Question. Well, with any SE conversation, it always starts with the person making the claim, right? So, there's always these kinds of questions are always going to be context dependent. But, if we have an example of saying like, oh, essential oils helped heal my grandmother's cancer, that's something that you hear, it goes around. Yeah, like actually, you know what, Ben? Yeah. What do you have to say? I'm going to make the claim here. Sure. And we can do an SE conversation right now. How about that? All right. Yeah. So, Ben, I have this grandmother who was really, really sick last summer with cancer. But, we started rubbing essential oils on the spot where she had it was skin cancer on her shoulder. And it started to go away over time. And eventually that skin cancer was taken care of. So, I really do believe in the power of essential oils.
How exactly did the essential oils, what's the connection between rubbing essential oils and the cancer going away?
Well, I'm not a naturopath, I'm not an expert, but I do know that I think, we have this reliance on all these synthetic, ingredients and stuff. And I really think like just the natural ingredients were a big part of kind of healing. We don't get enough natural stuff in our bodies. And so I think that was really what did it, just kind of healing and restoring the nutrients that the skin really needed.
And I want to point out the first thing that you did there, you actually explained, no, I'm serious, because a lot of people will say, okay, well, what do I do with essential oils? Keith, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Hey, so the first thing I would do is just try to identify what exactly is the specific claim. Mm-hmm. So Dan did an excellent job explaining exactly what the essential oils were doing. I've had sisters, my mom likes to buy this bio oil, costs way too much, right? She's just spending extra money. They don't know exactly what it does or why they do it. What I tend to get from them is just that it makes them feel good. And if I get to the point where they're recognizing maybe that they're spending a little bit of extra money, that's basically where I've gotten to it. Dan, have you had experiences where people have actually claimed that the oil cures cancer?
I have seen it posted on the internet for sure. I have heard people in discussions talk about the curing abilities of it, and how people just tend to feel better when they apply it to stuff. So I haven't personally had a conversation where somebody said it heals their cancer, but I've definitely seen those conversations happen. So I tried to go that route. That was my choice. But anyway,
can I just say how cool it was to just observe that exchange and be like, I'm just going home. I'm just going to
just going home. Well, I also, realistically, they're not going to give you an exact, step-by-step process of how it works. Mm-hmm. So, they might deflect like I just did and say, oh, I'm not an expert on these things. But maybe they'll say, oh, there's studies that have been done on it. Or they'll say, I heard this from a story, or, I saw it happen for myself, so I know it works. There's
if I wanted to mitigate harm, Keith, I might even say, would you use this oil instead of seeking, Western treatment or what we consider modern medicine? And if they're saying, no, I'm looking into this as a extra, you know, if I don't know, I tend to go along as long as it's not creating harm, I almost kind of drop it, especially if it's making them feel good. Do you have anything specific that's going on that you'd like to share that maybe we could tackle specifically?
Not at the moment specifically, but my family is all into all of the homeopaths, essential oils, lucky rocks, theta healing, all of that good stuff. My mother is even working for a pharmaceutical company, or a company that's claiming to be a pharmaceutical company that is selling medication that's like endorsed by the Trinity Network.
You know,
to Ben's point, like, I think Ben was basically saying, like, how much of my time do I want to invest in this? Is it really causing any harm? And you can really kind of ask them if it's worth your time pursuing. Like, if you realize that you were wasting your money on this stuff and it really wasn't giving the results that you think that it was, would you want to know? Would you like to be able to use that money elsewhere? Or are you okay spending money on something that may not actually be achieving what you think that it is? And then you can let them set the parameters. And they say, well, yeah, I don't want to waste my money. I'd rather spend it on coffee or something rather than this stuff if it didn't work. Then that could be the green light to proceed with them.
Yeah. So, and then you ask general, you can be general with it too. Like, you don't even have to be super, because if it's going to raise those defenses, I would even just ask, like, well, how do we know what's the best effective treatment in terms of health? Like, what methods do we use in general for that? You know, like, you don't even have to ask specifically about essential oils, because presumably, you know, the case that I found is, I've never met anyone that's completely relied on essential oils their entire life, right? Usually they get into it at some point in their lives, but most of the time it's not their entire life. So if they've used traditional medicine before, you know, like, and they can at least advocate the effect, I don't know, the effectiveness, like I was gonna say like Tylenol or something, right? Like, then we can at least make a compare and contrast case of, how do we know that this works versus that? You know, is personal experience going to be the motivator here? And if so, you know, is that going to be the most reliable thing? Like you're saying, it's context specific, context dependent, but yeah, hopefully we gave some good advice. We were kind of all attacking it in different ways here, but I liked our answers in general.
We did. If I could just add one more thing about the essential oils thing too, is it's a really good example of how people can really fall in love with their beliefs and defend them. So somebody who just occasionally goes out and they put it in there, maybe they drop $20 a month, they may be more open to looking at their belief. But if they are selling it and they're building a small business, and then you ask them their questions, they're going to likely be more defensive. It's a great example of how we can really start protecting the beliefs once we realize what's at stake because of it. And it's a good topic to really practice SE on, because it's probably not the end of the world for them or that detrimental unless they're really invested in it. You can practice on it, and you could perhaps even teach them how to think about their conclusions, because a lot of people, I think, who are into that stuff also have other beliefs that that are worth exploring, maybe even religious beliefs. So if you found yourself sometimes there are some topics with the people that we love and who are in our lives where we just don't touch it because it's too sensitive. This could be a really safe topic, like horoscopes, karma, essential oils. As long as they're not too invested in it, it's a great topic to practice your SE skills with on something that isn't quite so defensible, or something that somebody would really want to protect. So it's a good example. And yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up.
Yeah, for sure. We got some other calls that we need to get to now, but Keith, I want to say thanks so much for calling in. I hope we gave you some good advice here, and look forward to hearing from you again soon.